We get started. Grand Rising to the Moors. Today is April the 5th, 2020, 1440. And a lot going on in our awesome nation. Before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to Grand Chief Tajiri Bey, who is our National Grand Chief and the Consular General of this Moorish American Consulate. We just want to send a huge thank you and a ton of awesome energy to you for all that you have done, for your guidance. We appreciate you, we love you, and your teachings have just proven to be so sound, and we just want to send that out. We also want to send a shout out to my biological brother, Shalay Morbey, who sparked the activation of the Moorish American Consulate. And he hasn't gone anywhere. He's still consul and justice as well. And I wanted to send a shout out to him because he listened to the Spirit when the Spirit told him to activate. And he and my brother Sage and I did just that. So I want to send a shout out to Shalay Morbey and also to Sage Bey, who is my other biological brother. The three of us are from the same Stargate. And Sage Bey, priceless, just priceless. He is not called Sage for nothing. He knows it all. He knows there's not a single issue that he cannot offer some guidance on. So we appreciate Sage Bey as well, who is Randy Ritchie in Capitalism Nolo, and Shalay Morbey is Mark Irving Ritchie in Capitalism Nolo as well. So there it is. Let me see if I can check that. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to catch that noise that's in the background. And also, yesterday I had the opportunity to go out into the territory and visit some of the grounds, some of the pyramids that are in this territory, in Washington, Seattle, Washington Territory, Tacoma, Washington Territory. Passed by it many times and did not know that that was a pyramid until one of the other justices in the territory pointed it out and took me there. And I actually had, it was as clear as day, you know, and so I want to encourage you, especially at this time, to go out into your territories because there are pyramids everywhere. You might think it's a mountain or a power plant or, you know, something like that, but when you look at it with open eyes, those are pyramids, and I posted photos of that album on Facebook at Tajiri Bey Facebook page, so if you want to see the pyramids here in Tacoma, Washington Territory, those are there. I was just amazed. And it was great to actually just go and sit on it and, you know, hold the dirt in my hands and experience the greatness that our ancestors put there. And that particular pyramid, there was an Albion watchman, because the pyramid is, they had put some equipment that has not moved in months, maybe even years, but they're still watching it because they're waiting for us to do some things that we're going to do very shortly. And then they'll be able to use their equipment, but they can't use it until we say so. But he was there and he pulled up and he said to us, myself and Justice Simone, you know, what were we doing there? And I said, we came to see our pyramid. It's right there. And he said, pyramid? What pyramid? Now this person's been working there for years. years he's been working there. And I said, it's right there. And we were standing right next to it. It was just hilarious. And he was like, oh, yeah, it is a pyramid once you back up and look at it. And I'm like, you know what, y'all play way too much. Y'all know that's our pyramid, and that's ancient land. This is ancient land we're on. And he didn't even question that. He didn't even question it. And so we went on through and got to see what we needed to see with regard to that which belongs to the Lord. I'm going ahead and muting as the noise meter comes up. I'm muting just in case, because some people may not know that there's a lot of noise in their background. So I'm going ahead and muting those. But it was a beautiful outing. My vibrations are raised because of that. So as many of you as can go out into your territories, because the evidence of who we are is everywhere. It's everywhere. No, I mean, we're the only ones who did not know that everything around us is ours. And so we're able to see that everything is ours, and it's been sitting here, we just didn't know what it was. And they do a good job of kind of hiding and putting things in front of it to make it look like it's not what it really is. But now that our eyes are open, we can see that it's actually, those are our pyramids and our mountains and all of our ancient lands. You know, they've been here the whole time.
They're on Pantheon back from Louisiana territory.
Welcome, nobility. Okay, I'm actually, people are still coming in, so go ahead. Another thing I wanted to say, when going out into your territory, especially at this time right now, it is suggested, because you can't tell sovereigns what to do, because they're sovereign. You can do whatever you want to do because this is your land. But it is suggested that when you go out, that you wear your turbans and fezzes, so that we can bring to life what our prophet Noble Jualu said was going to happen. That there were going to be turbans and fezzes all in the street. Okay. So we want to go ahead and as many of you as can wear your turbans and fezzes when you go out. Or just pin the flag on to your clothing so that you're properly identified, okay, as the heirs. That's important because we're actually manifesting the prophecies that our prophet Noble Jualu gave when he was here. And I think that is for that. So now we want to go, I'm going to go basically into our creditor status and how that is working out and the demonstrations that are being done. And if you all have any, before we go into that, well, let me go into that first, and then we'll get updates from everyone with regard to how things are going in your territory and any questions that you may have. For those who can speak, all lowercase letters is the creditor, and we do use our sovereign-born names that were given to us by our sovereign mothers at birth, and we rebut the fraud of that name being manipulated by the use of capital letters, even if it's just one capital letter. We rebut that publicly. We are not a part of the capitalist system. And let me just name a few things that are a part of the capitalist system that is falling. Jails are a part of the capitalist system. Without the capitalist system, there's none of that. There are no jails. Okay, there are prison colonies for those who come to our land and do things they should not be doing. You know, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba being one, Puerto Rico being one, Guam is one. Those are prison colonies. But that stuff goes away. So that prison industrial complex that we've been watching, it was growing and growing. It looked like a giant blob on our land, to where they started taking money away from the schools, their education centers and training centers and animal training centers, and putting it into the prison complex, and building more prisons than they were building schools. All of that stuff goes away when capitalism goes away. And that is what we're all watching happen. If you are on social media, on my page, I've posted several recent articles about them emptying out the jails and the prisons of the Moors. They haven't done it all over just yet, but they're getting there. It's not a one day. That's not a one day transition. That's a transition that happens over time, and it's happening very quickly. The one doing business as Attorney General, going by the servant subject name of William Barr, announced that he was going to tell the federal prisons to start releasing those who are held captive there. And that's on top of, silently, underneath all of this coronavirus news that's been going out and covering up all that's being done, they've been releasing the more specifically, but all of those who've been held captive are being set free. And that is what we told them to do in 2018, is to set the Moors free. And they are now doing just that. And if you want to see the video of us telling them to set the Moors free, it's on YouTube at Like Tajiri Bay channel. And if you read the comments under there, no one thought that would happen, but it's happening. They don't have a choice. When the capitalism system goes away, that stuff has to go. It has to. Another thing that has to go when capitalism goes away is anything associated with the fake court. Because they can't operate if they're not putting names in all capital letters. That's how their system is set up. Okay? I see in the chat we have an Albion visitor, another one. We're glad you're here. And if you don't use the supreme law of the land to support your stance, then we will have to dismiss you from the teaching, from the class, from the sharing session, because we use the supreme law of the land here to support all that we say and all that we do. And if you continue to make cast aspersions and say things that are not true without support, because we actually have to support what we say with the law, and so do you. So
okay, there, Pauline. So yeah. What you're saying?
What I'm saying is, if you don't use the supreme law of the land, you're out of here. You know that.
Yeah. So tonight at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time on
the supreme law of the land
channel, you'll be learning. If you come over.
Okay, we're not going to do that either. We're not going to do that, because that's not the supreme law of the land, and no, you don't get to advertise on our watch. Now, let's see. I think there's one other in here. I wasn't even talking to that particular visitor, but Samuel Hayden, he's going by the servant name of Samuel Hayden. You're putting some things in the chat. We love you too. You will support what you say with the law, or we'll have to dismiss you as well. Okay? All right. So don't do any other comments in the chat unless it's supported by the supreme law of the land. Okay. So again, all that we commanded them to do is being done. That we are very, very excited about. We told them that they needed to set the Moors free, and they do need to do that. Okay? And they're doing just that. Now, some other things that the capitalism system is all about is corporations that that feel that it's okay to violate the Moors and not follow the supreme law of the land, that kind of thing. Because corporations are in all capital letters, and even those that are in where it first starts with a capital letter and there are lowercase letters after that, any capital letters makes you lienable. And anything that is lienable that we can lien, we will lien it. And you will see people doing what they're doing now, where the CEOs are stepping down. They don't have a choice because the Constitution that we gave them makes us unalienable. Because see, they say unalienable rights and inalienable rights. That's us. We are not lienable in our sovereign status. And that's why we have to come out of that status of corporations and subjects and servants, because we're not that. So we terminate all corporate contracts, and when you terminate all corporate contracts, anything that you're using, you give an affidavit and say, I'm using that, whether it be VA benefits or whether it be, no matter what it is, you're using it as the creditor. And so they're not to terminate whatever it is that you need. And they are to give you whatever support you need while we change over this money system to what it should be. And the money system has switched. We just need to do a few more things in terms of our affidavit of command so that we can continue to manifest that piece. With regard to cell phones, I know that though there are many who place their termination of corporate contracts on the public record, and their cell phones went into where they don't have to pay the cell phone bill with fiat anymore. It just stays on. Okay. Anyone who has placed a sovereign affidavit of termination of all corporate contracts on the public record, that should be happening for you as well. Where when you put the termination of corporate contracts on the public record, specifically if you list each of the quote-unquote accounts that are in those all-cap names and in using capital letters, because that's what I did. I listed all of the accounts, every last one of them. Cable bill, internet service, cell phone, anything having to do with a mortgage, insurance, conveyances, loans, old bills from way back in the day that they were attempting to place that debt on the heirs. I listed all of that out on my termination of corporate contracts by account number and everything. I went through everything. And then at the end of that, I said anything in those corporate, dead corporation names, any of that stuff, I rebut all of it. I'm the creditor, okay? And they have, okay, I see you, Justice Abasi. I just wanted to get the visitors out, the ones who love to come to our meetings. I'll go ahead and reopen. Okay, it's open. It may take a minute or two for it to do that, but it's open. Yes, it's open now. And so our our cell phone bills now are going into, and they're using coronavirus as the excuse, and that's okay. We don't care what excuse they use to do as we command, but that's what they're doing, and they're making it so that our cell phones stay on permanently. Okay, so again, list on your termination of corporate contract the account by number and who the corporation is that's attempting to lien the service that's being provided to the board. List them, and they'll go down that list and fix everything and shift everything over to creditor status. Okay, so Islam Justice Gilmore, glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you, Justice Abasi, for letting me know too. We want to keep the meeting clear. So that's what's happening. Go ahead and put those and put them in all lowercase letters where we're concerned, and then any corporate names or anything, any names of corporations and account numbers, that's in all capital letters on the termination of corporate contracts. And we're seeing all kinds of things shift and twist and turn, and we're using our creditor status now. And where we're going from here with regards to creditor status is this. We have to navigate through the systems, and when I say through the systems, I don't mean the corporate systems, because those systems, when we get rid of capitalism, the corporate covering comes off of everything. That's why we do the court actions we did the court action on the Federal Reserve, and you can see the changes that have happened just since the court action. The next day changes started happening, and actually they started happening the same day that we did the court. They just needed that pronouncement on the public record. So we have to now navigate and find all of the benefits that are there for us on our land, in our sovereign status, and not as a corporation, because we don't operate that way. And in other words, if you can see this board, again, the creditors are in all lowercase letters. When our sovereign mother spoke our names the day we crowned the Stargate, that was when our estate was created. And it was by proclamation of our mothers, our sovereign mothers, that estate came into being. Okay. So, are there any questions about any of that? Also, even with regard to things like mortgages and all of that stuff, once you put on, because everything has flipped, and even if you did something a month ago with regard to mortgages and things like that, termination of those mortgage contracts, if there was something that happened then, do it again, because just since the pronouncement of the Federal Reserve piece, much has changed. Much has changed. And it's almost like someone, and I said this was going to happen about a year ago. I said, once we lay down all of the foundation and uncover everything that belongs to us, it's going to be like someone flipped the switch. And everything went back to what it should be. And at this point, that switch has been flipped. That's why you're seeing the corporations now talk about how there are no evictions, et cetera, et cetera. They're now saying, because they know that the system had to flip back to us being the creditors here at North America and all over. But we had to get rid of that capitalist system, and we're not done yet. We still have, there are some court actions that are going to be coming up. Some of them will not be pre-announced. They're going to be done impromptu from a public perspective, but those who are a part of those court actions will be notified as we should. So we're going to definitely give due process. Yes, go ahead, Justice Theodore, you said you get a screenshot of the board. Yes, go ahead and do that. I'll step aside. And then also in the chat, it says, how can I claim some property where my father's domicile's at? With regard to claiming property, the following things are needed, and it's all affidavit, okay? It's all done by affidavit. You need to do it on Moorish National Republic Federal Government letterhead, and that letterhead has everything in red and lowercase letters, and we put that out there. If you go to Moorish American Council Public Records page and look at the top, pinned at the top of the page, is my name change, appellation change document. And you can download that, it's in Word format, so you can edit it so that you can take everything off of it and use that letterhead, because that is the appropriate letterhead. And what you need to have in order to do the property piece is the name change done where the creditor, the sovereign born name. Now we have our sovereign born names that our mothers gave us, that our sovereign mothers gave us, which create the creditor estate. I am recording, yes. And so you want to use that name. So for me, I am judged like Tajiri Bay. That is the sovereign chosen appellation, sovereign chosen national appellation that I had the opportunity to pick for me. However, the creditor is Pauline Denise Ritchie in all lowercase letters, in capitis nolo, in proprio persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredis. And in their system over there, in that system that we have subjugated, okay, by court action, we had to do the court action to subjugate that system. We subjugated the Office of Tax and Revenue so that they can be free to do what they need to do with regard to the Moors. We took the corporate covering off of that. We've taken the corporate covering off of that, of the money system in terms of that Federal Reserve Corporation standing in the way of the estate. We've taken the corporate covering off of the Treasury and off of corporations and et cetera, et cetera. And so the creditor can now speak, okay, in all lowercase letters, in capitis nolo. And then we showed you on, like Tajiri Bay on Facebook, and also in our class 2 weeks ago, we showed you how the Masons have been using all lowercase letters when they're not even supposed to be using all lowercase letters. But whenever they speak to that system, they use all lowercase letters, and then they taught us to use capital letters. So they basically took that is hypothecation. And now a lot of them are, in a lot of trouble for that, because they don't have the authority to do that. They're foreign. So again, for the domicile, a name change in the name of the creditor, and then you're going to rebut any name that has even one capital letter or all capital letters. You're going to rebut that in your name change document. Go out there and mine is out there so that you can see it. Then you also need, aside from the name change, you want to do the termination of corporate contracts, universal, sovereign, original, indigenous termination of all corporate contracts affidavit. You want to list everything that has ever been sent to you, and I mean everything that's ever been sent to you, to your mailing location, actually, because they can't send it to you because you're the living. But everything that was sent to the mailing locations where they're trying to say, oh, this amount is owed, this amount of PI is owed. You want to list all of that on the termination of corporate contract. And when you say that you're the creditor, in all lowercase letters, in red, okay, and you show and you prove that with your name change and a copy of your Moorish American ID, that Justice Abasi and the Moors who do the identification cards for the Moorish American Consulate, that's going to be proof as well that you bear the mark, which is the melanation for the majority of us. And That's another something that you put in there is the termination of all corporate contracts. And then, and that property, whatever property it is, you need to put, let's see, you don't have, if it's a property that there are no contracts on that you signed previously, which is actually best. If it's one that you picked, and we suggest that you pick one that is not occupied, because we don't want to cause a complete upheaval on our land. Okay, so if it's your father's property, then you need to lien everyone who's claiming an interest in the property. So go to the tax assessor website, and whoever's listed there, you lien them because they're going to be listed in all capital letters. Now, this is the tricky part. Your father is probably going to be, there's going to be a hypothecation of his sovereign name there too. Okay, there's going to be a hypothecation on the public record of his sovereign name. That's not his name in all capital letters, or if it has even one capital letter, that's not his name, so they need to be liened too. And what you're doing is you're pulling that commercial United States Corporation Company commercial covering off of the property. Now, the way that you ensure that there's no confusion, your father, does need to do a name change document that says his name is in capitis nolo in all lowercase letters. And he's rebutting the capital letters. Both of those capitals, the subject capital name and the one that's all capital letters. So this hybrid has capital letters and lowercase letters. That's why it's called a hybrid, because it has some stuff in it that's not natural. These capital letters are not natural. Okay? That's why they're hybrid. Okay? And so you lien any of those that are fictitious entities pretending to be your father. Lien them. And then your father, along with that lien, include both his name change and your name change. That's going to correct the record and say this property does not belong to these corporations, and it doesn't belong to a servant subject on our land. It belongs to the creditors. Okay, so again, name change, termination of corporate contract, and then you also want to do an allodial title in all lowercase letters, so your allodial title should match the name of the creditor. Okay? And then you want to do a universal sovereign security number affidavit. Now, some people are not comfortable with that, and that's okay. You don't have to be. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. Because at the beginning and end of the day, your bloodline will not change. You're still the creditor. I found it necessary to, and let me just show it to you in writing so that you can see what I did. And some people say, well, you shouldn't show your phone show on the, but we're gonna get this right. We're going to get this right. So that we can get past this part. We need to get past this. And the only way to get past it is to show it. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now, for those who can't see, I apologize that you can't see the screen, but I want to be sure. Yes, in the chat it says, can we do this for a property belonging to a parent who has not corrected his or her status? Yes, you can. The property will go into your, because remember, if they haven't corrected their status, they're still a servant, a subject on their own land. And if you know what I'm saying? So So they can't own property anyway, and they don't own it. So you need to lean, again, the hybrid name. See, this is why foreigners, when they come here, they came here and taught us to write in this foreign status right here, where there's one capital letter and all lowercase letters. That's what they teach you in school, in their education camp. We were never supposed to be using that. Never. So, if your father, whether deceased or not, this goes for any property that has not been already claimed by a Moor. Okay? That's any property. If it's claimed by a subject or a servant or a corporation, then it's fair game for the Moors. Sorry, it is fair game. You can put the documents on the public record. Now, what you don't want to do is go to the property and try to put somebody out. You don't want to do that, because if you all watch carefully, all we have to do, and this is the part I love about what we're doing, all we have to do is put the documents on the public record and wait. Just wait. Just wait. Because that whole thing is falling over there. Okay? And I don't know if you all heard, but the head of the policy enforcers, which is the Pope. I know many folks did not know that the Pope was the head of the policy enforcers, but he is, and he was. The Pope dropped all of his titles, to include the title that he was falsely, presumably claiming to be the vicar of Jesus Christ. So when you drop all your titles, that means that someone with a higher title has stepped up, which is the Moors. Titles of nobility supersede all others. And when we stand like we're doing, everyone else must sit. And I posted the article from that I found on Facebook. So, again, slaves cannot own property, subjects cannot own property on our land, only we can. Okay? And so, along with, again, the, here, I want to show you this. I did do a universal, original, indigenous, living, white, sovereign security number affidavit. Okay? And what I did with that is, here it is on the screen. I'm going to show it. And what I did was, I took that sovereign, as we know, the social security number is the fraud. It's the fraud. Because it has dashes in it, and it's issued by a corporation that does not have the authority to dictate to the creditors what to do. So our government has issued to me, which each one of us is the government. So what I did was I issued a sovereign security number, and it has the prefix of MACW, which is Moorish American Consulate West in all lowercase letters, and then it's the social, but without any dashes in it. So when it's issued by our government, that gives the number our nature. And then I clipped behind this same document, I took the fraudulent document of the fake social and all of that, and I marked them fraud. Okay. This is my ID card. But I took the passport, and you can probably see it on the screen, the fake birth certificate that lists a hybrid hypothecation of my mother's name as the informant, and the social security card front and back, and I clipped that to what our government has issued, and I label those fraud. And it's the same thing we've been saying anyway. We know that stuff is fraud. Okay. Now again, you don't have to do this until you study in Capitalism Diminutio Minima and in Capitalism Diminutio Maxima. So so that you can see that that any word with any capital letter is fraud. All of that. And again, always demonstrate at the level of your understanding. Okay? Always demonstrate. And yes, you can get a copy of this document. I put the name change out there already. I'm going to put and it was a little bit of resistance from the technology, where that is concerned, but we are okay with that. So we'll put those out there as well. But I reissued a sovereign security number because each one of us is a nation in and of ourselves. And as we begin to move in commerce, we're moving in universal commerce, not corporate commerce. So just like our prophet said, it's going to be in all of the Moorish American consulate pages. And so she said, where will the document be found? It will be on all of the Moorish American consulate pages on Facebook. And I'll post it on Light Tajiri Bay as well. I'll post a photo of the document on Light Tajiri Bay as well. So our prophet said, Prophet Noble Ali, who is the head of all that we do, along with our ancestors, along with all Moors, who are the heads of all that we do, because we're lockstep one with another. Those documents, our prophet said that they were going to leave the European here long enough to teach us how to govern. So every document that they have issued, we're issuing the rebuttal in affidavit form. Okay? The rebuttal. Because we must, and this is something Grand Sheikh Tajiri Bey has always told us, we must rebut everything they say. And that's what we're doing. Court actions are rebuttals. I have to give a shout out to Empress Michelle Talbot Bey. She rocked a court action this week that was just powerful. Very powerful. Any of you that need to do court actions, please do them. Because that's a public rebuttal of whoever it is that's attempting to take physical property using fake corporate documents and fake hybrid names and fake corporate names. Because we're neither one of those. Those are dead entities and entities. Now the subjects, when they get in subject status, yes, there's Empress Michelle Bay in the chat. Yes, she rocked it. I'm telling you. And she had some resistance from some of the visitors that sometimes come into our stuff to try to stop it. She kept going because they were trying to stop her from pronouncing judgment. And when she pronounced judgment, it was a wrap then. There was nothing else they could say. So,
yeah, because she blocked me. That's what she did.
And you're going to keep getting blocked because you haven't used the supreme law of the land at all to do any of the stuff you say. That's going to be the case every time. Okay? You got to use the supreme law of the land. I don't care how many times he shows up. Now, we want to hear dissenters. If there's some naysayers and dissenters, we want to hear you, but you have to make some sense. You have to use the supreme law of the land to tell us this or that to support your stance. Don't come in here with all of that other stuff about personal feelings, because we're not doing feelings and beliefs, we're doing the law.
Alibaba El Camino is back in the house.
You are back in the house. Have you found any laws that said we can't do what we were doing? That's a yes or no, and you know you get
moved. On my channel tonight at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, you'll see. I've got a bunch of...
We're not going to do that. We're not doing that. We're not coming to your show. No, we don't do show business. This is not show business. This is nation building. And I know he's probably going to keep coming back. Let me lock it up here for just a minute.
I have a respectful question.
Yes.
I'm 86 years old. And I live in my house that I've lived in for 40 years. Mm-hmm. And I don't do understand that somebody can come and take my house?
You know what, thank you for that question, and thank you for being respectful. And I don't want to assume, are you foreign to the land? Are you an Albion, a European?
Okay, my mom and my dad and my grandparents were born on the reservation in Douglas, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Douglas, Arizona on the reservation.
Mm-hmm.
But I next live in Washington State. And
Okay, let me ask you about your grandparents. Where are they from?
well, I'm just telling you that I'm Choctaw Indian.
Okay, anybody, I'm sorry, go ahead, I don't mean to interrupt you.
I'm an American citizen. I have a social security card, you know, and my husband and I raised our children in this house. We lived here for just over 40 years now, and I'm 86. And I listen, and you know, it scares me because I've lived all my life the best I could.
Mm-hmm. Well, may I respond, or did you want to continue?
Sure, please do.
Okay. As long as you are obeying the supreme law of the land, and again, we are the law, we are the government, and you have declared your subject status here, because everyone knows who the heirs are and who the subjects are. Subject is not a bad thing. There's some protection in that subject status, okay? But, and with regard to your, with regard to your, well, because we're the heirs to all land, all natural resources, and all that, you know, all of that is clear. However, if you came here from someplace else, which you all did come here from someplace else, even though, see, those who were born on reservations were corporate versions of the original indigenous sovereigns. They're actually native United States Corporation Company citizens, believe it or not. That's actually what they are. As long, because they're not us. They were brought here from someplace else. So your grandmother was out even know you.
Place else. Yeah, I hope them by. I lived here all my life.
I know you did. I'm sure you have. For the last 2 generations, you all have lived here all your lives. The last 2 generations you have.
So I can trace my grandparents and way back on the Dawes Rolls, my grandmother's parents and my grandfather's parents. We traced our family history back.
Well, you do know that the Dawes Rolls are fraudulent. The Dawes Rolls is, yes, they are fraudulent. That's why you all never got anything. You never really received anything.
People call them fraudulent. They've been there forever and ever since the United States signed a treaty with the 5 nations.
Okay, the treaties that you all are talking about, the only standing treaty today, the only valid treaty is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship 1786 and 1836. The Treaty of Tripoli as well. The other treaties that were made with the United States Corporation Company, see, corporations cannot enter into treaties, and that's where the mistakes were made. You all did not realize that you were making treaties with more of you, with others who come from the same place you come from. Those are corporate treaties, and corporate treaties do not hold, they're notwithstanding when it comes to the law of the land, the supreme law of the land. And that's actually been the issue, is the United States has been pretending to be us, and they're not us. And so, with regard to your domicile, because you were concerned about that, I cannot promise you that a Moorish American national won't claim your domicile. I can't promise you that, because they might, because in reality, you don't own it. Do you have the title to it?
I do.
You don't have a title to it.
In 1972, we paid off our mortgage, and for the past,
don't you? It's a deed, isn't it?
It's a title, deed of trust, yes.
Okay, yes, it's a deed of trust. They can't issue titles because all land is titled already to us.
How can I go and get my land registered then? How can I go get my house registered? I called the county. I called the county and they don't know what I'm talking about.
I know they don't. They're acting like they don't know what you're talking about, but ask them to give you a title and see, won't they will not be able to do that. Because they know.
Ms. Long?
Well, a deed of trust. Okay, just one moment. You must have a allodial title to the home. Okay,
Ms. Long?
did you create the allodial title? Cause
No.
whoever issued it, who issued your title?
Well, I have several. I have one for the mineral rights and I have one for the water rights. That they registered. I beg your
Who
pardon?
issued them? Who issued those titles that you have?
The county.
Yes, and see, the county doesn't own anything. They're a corporation too. So they actually just took your fiat and issued some bogus paperwork. So you don't own anything here. Everything, all property. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Just wanted to make a point that, how could one own property which they paid with debt notes? And the property did not belong to the seller. It belongs to the Moors.
Right.
It belongs
Correct.
to the Aboriginal,
Correct.
not Aboriginal, let me correct that because I've been schooled there. It belongs to the original American Moorish
That's us.
national.
The Moors.
It can't be sold.
Nope.
Nobody
It
knows
can't be
what I'm
relieved
talking
from
about
us.
when I
So one can have what's called a life tenancy on it. But
And that's
that
not
must
valid
be an
either.
agreement reached between the owners, the ones who control it
Which is
lawfully,
the heirs.
and the person who wants to settle on it. There is
Yes.
no such thing as squatters' rights.
Right.
Islam.
And right now, all of them are squatting because
And
they
Islam.
are thinking that they have documents that they don't have, and that's why the provost marshal and everyone is starting to usher those people off the land, and that's why you see what's going on with that capitalist economy, because the documents that you have your name in all capital letters, okay, and that's invalid. That's why we're standing, because you all have documents that are issued, and those who issued the documents knew they were fraud. If your grandparents were honorable, they told you couldn't own land here.
They never told me any such thing.
Then they weren't honorable.
My grandparents grew up on the reservation. I did not grow up on the reservation. My folks moved into town. My dad was actually transferred and actually worked in Oklahoma. I have lived in several different states, but my husband and I bought this property
States are
over
corporate.
40 years ago. Well, I call it over 40 because we paid for it in 1972. We finished paying for it. And I haven't had to pay a mortgage payment. I pay my taxes every year. And I can't pay my house away from me. Why would somebody come
You
and
don't
take
own it.
something that I paid for, I worked for?
You don't own it.
I don't understand that.
Well, you need to understand your status on our land. Your status on our land is not lawful. So those who told you,
I paid for it.
well, if you'll calm down, let's keep the energy down. You paid fiat for it. That's not gold back. And are you familiar with the Constitution? And it's telling you that all debts are to be paid in gold and silver. So those who sold it to you, then you're on the land and don't even know the law of the land that you're on. And that's the agreement that you all made.
I paid for it with lawful currency.
No, you didn't.
Well, it wasn't lawful currency if it wasn't gold back, then there was no gold back currency there. Because there was no heirs to accept gold back currency there.
Well, I'll just keep listening because I just find this, I just can't understand it, but I'll keep listening.
Yeah, you understand.
Yes, keep listening because,
And learn the law.
again, you all, I'm glad you asked because you all need to know your status and your standing on this land. And because there was a failure in communication on the part of your mother and your grandmother to tell you that you don't own anything on the land of the Moors, we really, we're here educating, or not educating you, well, we are educating you all, but we're here stating our status, and our status is to be honored, which is why that whole capitalism system that gave you all those documents, if you look on the documents, they're in capital letters, okay? And they're in capital letters because they're not issued by the heirs. They're issued by those who fraudulently sold them to you. Wall Street was fraud, and you all even know that.
Well, who's going to pay me back for all the money I paid? Who's going to pay me back?
You actually didn't pay anything for it because fiat is not backed by anything. You all know that. Now, ignorance of the law is no excuse. Just because you're saying that you did not know, that does not absolve you. Just like if we were doing something and we said that we didn't know, we're still held accountable. Where the supreme law of the land is concerned.
I've been asking about you because I've been listening for a while and nobody knows who you are.
And that's just it. Everyone knows who we are, and we're actually the only ones who
are. I called because they don't know who you are. The county clerk doesn't know who you are.
She actually does. She's lying to you again. You all have been lied to. You really have. I mean, and again, you all are on land and you don't know the law here. You need to learn the law here so that you know your status.
That's
so
an arrestable offense.
You won't be fooled when they lie to you and say, we just sold you a house. They can't sell you anything. They don't have the title. We have the title to all land. It's on the public record. We have the title to all land.
Where can I go and see that, please? Because I can't find it anywhere.
Yes, because they hid it really well. But those people that went to Harvard and Princeton and Yale and all of those people and all of your state, quote unquote, representatives and your state attorneys general and your Secretary of State, all of those people doing business under those fraudulent titles, they know. Ask them, and they'll tell you who the Moors are. Now, if you want to see, go to www.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Yes, it's www.moorishamericanconsulate. Hold on for just a moment. www.moorishamericanconsulate.org.
Okay, I've been there and I looked at that and where do I look when I get there? Where do I look under? Because there's a whole bunch of stuff there.
Look at all of it because it's going to help. Every case is going to tell you the same thing over and over that we're the heirs. Look at all of it. Look at everything of it. Everything that's there because it's going to tell you the same thing repeatedly. We are the heirs to all natural resources too. Mineral rights.
Another question, who gave it to you? I mean, where do I go to see who gave it to you that you can tell me that you own the house?
We produced it ourselves. We made it. Nobody gave it to us.
You made the earth? What?
Yes.
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 What?
Yes, we created you to those who made it.
What? Now wait a minute.
Okay, let me just say this. Miss.
Can we?
Hold on for just a moment. Justice Gilmore, hold on, because we want to give her voice so she can, because they need to know this because they're asking. You all, know that we were here long, we've been here for millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of years. We've been here for longer than you all have even existed.
Wait a minute, carbon dating shows humans haven't been here for millions and millions and millions of years.
Did you know that carbon dating is based on carbon-based beings, of which we are? They base their science on us. So
Yeah.
there's a whole lot that you don't know, so I would suggest that you continue to listen and go to the website and continue to read, because let me tell you this part right here as well, because this is important. I'm so glad you're here. Millions of us did not come here on tens of thousands of slave ships. That's why you can't find the slave ships. We've been here since time immemorial, and we're going to be here into perpetuity.
Cast that spell.
So,
That's it.
all that stuff that they told you in your education camp was not true. Those who were on those reservations, who were put on those reservations, they were put there in corporate status, always have been and always will be corporate status. So they're just citizens just like everyone else, all of the rest of those who came to our land here and made agreements here. Okay, so go back and read the Constitution about how all debts are to be paid in gold and silver, and know that you haven't paid for anything. Know that every piece of paper that you have, it has names in all capital letters or even one capital. It's fraud.
Teach.
Know that. And then you need to ask those people why they sold you fraudulent documents, and they didn't even sell them to you. You didn't pay them anything.
Okay, now let me just ask you, if I don't pay my taxes, they're gonna come and take my house away from me. I pay my taxes, so they don't come and take my house away from me.
The only reason that you have to pay taxes is because you don't own it. Those taxes, you know what? They go to the board.
Believe it.
They go for the roads and for the schools and for the hospitals. I mean,
Okay.
taxes, where they go?
If you owned the domicile, if you did own it, they wouldn't be able to take it no matter what, right?
But I want to pay taxes to support my school and to support my roads. I mean, that's what being a citizen
Well, foreigners are
does.
supposed to pay taxes.
We appreciate that you've been, just a moment. We appreciate that you've been a good citizen here. We appreciate the good citizens on our land. However, citizenship, that status alone tells you that you don't own anything. Citizens can't own anything. That's how come you all are all over the earth and you're not really from anywhere. Are you indigenous to any land on earth?
Teach.
I am an American citizen, proudly an American citizen, and I
Yeah,
have
but that doesn't answer the question.
an American Indian background, and I love it. I love that I am an
That
American
doesn't answer the
Indian,
question.
and I take such pride. My son has served in the service. My husband was a police officer, and he passed away 4 years ago. I've been a good citizen all my life.
We appreciate that, but and here's the thing, we appreciate that, and there's no other caveat to that. We appreciate that, because when we brought you here, when we said you could come here, we said you should be good citizens. We said that, and you've done that, and we honor that. We thank you for that. However, I'm going to have to stop you here. I'm going to have to stop you here. Keep listening, though, and go read those documents, because citizenship has nothing to do with the land, okay? You all were brought here to enhance and improve and work and build on our land. That's what you were here for. And now your time has come. So you all need to get back in your proper status. Okay.
Ma'am,
Just keep listening. And I'm not a ma'am. That's British.
You're not making sense to me. I'm 86 years old and
Well, that's because you don't know the law. You admitted you don't know the Constitution.
Jean, you're going to have to be quiet now, okay?
Yep.
Okay. Now, let us continue.
It's long.
So, again, more heirs to the land. This is the kind of thing, now, we welcome the dialogue, that's for sure.
Yes.
But we cannot have dialogue if people don't know the law. They don't know who they are. And we already said that everyone must be properly identified. We said that last year and in 2018. That everyone, all subjects must be properly identified. Islam Justice Abati.
You know what I'm saying? I just have a problem with an 86, 7-year-old woman sounding like she's about 23 or 24. You know what I'm saying? And then laughing at the end.
It's all right. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. You're just throwing us off.
It's all right.
Throwing us off. I mean, just another one. Just another one. It's like.
Listen, they're going to come, Justice. They're going to come and they're going to have questions. And it's okay that they have questions. They can ask questions. In fact, we welcome them asking questions so that they will know that we know who we are now. The only reason they ask questions is because they want to see how much we know. They know who they are. They know they're visitors. They know that already. But we want to open up lines of diplomacy as we continue to move into full possession of the estate. And we will have to deal with that. We cannot get around dealing with that. And guess what? We're fit for the job.
Yes.
We're fit for that. We can do that.
Yes.
And then when it's time for them to calm it down, they calm it down. Okay? They know there's facts here. So again, Moors, I'm glad you are able to hear this as well because you're going to be faced with the same questions. And don't regard the questions as ugly. They need to know that we know who we are now. And that's really all it is a test to see if you know who you are. And we do know who we are. We know that we are the nobility of the land. And this is a peace thing. This is all about peace. We're not at war with them. We're not at war, so we don't have to war with them. We don't have to go back and forth. Again, they need to state the law to support their standing, just like we do, and just like we've done in all of our documents. And then we have some places that we can lead them to or show them. Go to this website, moorish-american-consulate.org, and read the document. Go to, someone put Obashengo L information in the chat. Go to any of those places and look at the document. And his name escapes me, but there are many more out there who know who they are. And she has, it's valid. Her fears are valid because her domicile does not belong to her. But she can't be afraid if, from the very beginning, they know what the agreement is. And she admits that she does not know the Constitution. And that is actually the first document that they must know. No, we haven't even gotten on the Declaration of Independence where they beg us to come and be and stay here, okay? And so again, you have to know the law to even have a viable discussion, okay? And we welcome their discussion. We're not at war. We're going to continue to address the issue because we are the standing government, and the standing government does have the say in what's going on the land. Nobility, go ahead. With whatever it is that you.
I would just like to say to Jean that she needs to look up the 1828 definition of an American, and she want to find out who's an original American.
Well, she admitted she was an American citizen. She said she was a citizen.
She's citizen, but she needs to know who the original Americans are. Because she don't believe you and I are not. And then she can know. I think she's playing around.
you know, and it's okay, we're not mad at Jean, we love Jean. Jean, we're glad you're here, we're glad you asked your questions, that's good. We invite as many of them as want to come and ask viable questions. They're allowed to do that because, again, they need to hear from the government. Okay? And they're going to hear from the government. We're not going to shut down dissenters as long as they have viable, you know, things to say. And then they need to look and know the supreme law of the land. You can't really have a viable discussion if people have not, if they don't know the law. And ignorance of the law is no excuse as well. Okay? So we honor her question. We have responded to it, and any of the others who want to come with questions, they can, as long as the questions are based on the law. And if you say you don't know the law, then we encourage you to study it prior to asking. More, let's focus back on nation building, because that's actually a part of nation building too, because you all are going to be faced with the same questions as we continue to stand, okay? And the reason that they are coming and asking the questions that they're asking is because they see that there is absolute truth in what we're saying and what we're doing, okay? And they want to know. We have to, we need to honor that. That's, you know, we got that. That's easy. Morris, are there any other questions? Now, we were initially talking about the property. We know that servants and slaves cannot own property on our land. And so again, Morris, that is why we need to terminate all corporate contracts, so that that system over there that is subject to us knows that they're actually dealing with the creditors and not a debtor, okay? Because any other status other than the creditor status is a debtor. And some of them are downright dead corporation corpses, okay? That's what this all caps name is, that all of those bills are sent out in. And we're grateful that the system has switched over, and that's another reason why they're coming, is because that whole creditor status piece, because of the court actions that have been done by the Moors, and because of the liens that have been done by the Moors, that system has flipped and it's not working over there on that side anymore, and they have to honor the creditors, the real creditors, who are the creditors to all of the nations of the earth. That's why the other nations loved America so much, and that's America with a lowercase a, in capitis nolo, okay?
Islam?
Because they know, yes, Islam.
Islam. That is the reason why the other nations have not attacked the true American, and in fact go out of their way to not cause harm to us, because they know that the people who are acting as Americans are usurpers, and cheats and liars for the most part, and deluded. The other ones that think they are, but they are not. But the delusion they must get rid of, just as we have gotten rid of the delusion that we were blacks, and we were coloreds, and we were all of those things. So we must correct with information of studying ourselves and our entire story, and they must do the same thing.
Yes.
That's the law.
Yes. And
we're not saying anything but lawful. Islam.
It's clear to them now, though, that that system is not working, and it's because the heirs have spoken. And so, you know, Lord, let's just get ready to answer the questions and field the questions and work through them, the dialogue, because see, now they're speaking in subject status as opposed to speaking from a corporation status where they're trying to invoke jurisdiction on us. They're no longer in that position, and now they have to come to us, and we are going to respond to that as we should. That is our job as the government, is to respond. And it's not even a response, it's basically stating the law. We are the law and we are the government. And there's no claim that we have ever made that cannot be proven by the supreme law of the land. And that's why it's important more for us to know the law, because we are the law. And it's also for a good idea, and it's not even an idea, it's actually a mandate, that we are honorable in all that we do, so that we keep everything peaceful on our land. However, again, when we give commands, those commands are to be followed, and they're being followed. We appreciate that. We appreciate our ancestors for making that happen. Okay? And yes, I'm reading in the chat, they've been lied to as much as we have, almost. Just like it was our ancestors' duty to inform us of who we are, it was their grandparents when they came through Ellis Island and put them on reservations. Some of them went on reservations, and some of them, and the rest of them went out into the city, quote unquote cities, etc. But they all came through Ellis Island Corporation. That's a corporation, you know. And so that's where, yes, Islam.
May I tap a little bit of information from the back cover of the Zodiacal View on You, Divine Law and Evolution of Man?
Islam.
I'll just read a few lines from it, and it starts, your thought is the most powerful weapon you have. The moment you stop thinking money is everything, is the moment you will have everything you need. To brainwash to wash your brain is to destroy billions of thoughts and thought processing passed down strongly through the years. A day is 1,000 years, 1,000 years is a day. You are in the seventh day. And when the work was done, they returned to take vengeance on all those who did not see or did not come in the light. I could read the rest of it, but the point I wanted to bring up there is how powerful the thought and thought process is, and the reason we must wash our brain out so that the mind can connect with it properly. Because Noble Drew Ali said he has fixed all the broken wires and fixed all the connections, but we still must reconnect to them. And that is what that was saying about there. Islam.
Islam, well stated. In the chat, it says, we know the jails are corporate entities. However, what will our government do with dishonorable Moors or those who break the law? First, whenever you say our government, please speak in first person. You are the government. Okay? So sometimes people say, well, you all are the government. What are you going to do about this and that? Moors, you're the government too. So speak in first person when you talk about the government. It is by the people, for the people, etc. Yes. What will our government do with dishonorable Moors? We don't have to even worry about that because again, the earth is cleansing itself on our behalf as well. We must cleanse as nature is cleansing. And I can tell you right now, I've seen it with my own eyes. The ones who are not honorable, the ancestors take care of them so quickly that it makes their heads spin, I promise you. So what we are to do is continue nation building, continue cleansing and clearing energy so that we know that we're not at war with anyone, because we're not. We're the heirs and there are no others, okay? And we're not at war, we don't have to argue. We don't have to argue, and, well, you already know what your heirs are. Let me see.
Then where's this vast estate also that you talk about?
The land that you're standing on is the vast estate, actually.
You know that.
So, let me see.
And all below and above.
Yes, all of that. He's aware of that. That's the kind of stuff that we, when they come like that, it's like you're not even studying the law. You're still acting like you don't know where you are when you actually do know where you are. So anyway, we're not at war with anyone. We have to continue to clear our energy, clean our energy, so that when we're, as we're continuing our rise, our grand rising, that we, are able to navigate the changes and things that are going on, and that our unity remains intact. Okay, and our unity will remain intact as we continue to clear energy. So with regard to the Moors that are, some people call them dirty Moors, etc. With regard to them, we don't have to worry about them. It's not our job, because see, we're adults. We're not adults. We're the heirs, and there's no more babysitting. So we don't have to babysit Moors. We don't have to. If they're not doing right, the ancestors are going to step in. I've seen it repeatedly. Repeatedly. Why? Because they're going to be tested just like we've been tested. They're going to be tested just like we've been tested. And if they don't know the supreme law of the land because they're busy chasing fiat, they're not going to do so well on the test, and then they may end up in a jail cell or something like that if approached by a policy enforcer, because that's really what testing is. And ending up in a jail cell I'm not judging anyone, because I was in one too, when I did not know that I didn't have to hand that guy, that the dead corporation standing outside the window, any identification, because he didn't have the authority to even ask me for it. But that was in 2017, and you all know that story. Hasn't happened since. Because they don't have authority, period. And they know they don't. And see, now, it's really important for us to be honorable. Okay? It's really important for us to be honorable at this time, because we're moving into full possession of the estate. And if there's anyone that's moving into possession of the estate with a spirit of greed, or a spirit of trying to get over, or a spirit of thinking that they're going to take everything and not give them, and not leave any for their brothers and sisters, you really have another thought coming. Don't do that. I would suggest that you not do that. Okay? Because it won't work. And we don't even have to do anything. We don't have to, we're unalienable and inalienable. Okay? And when the energies that we put out are of a certain caliber, the universe is going to respond in kind. If we're responding with greed, or if we're doing things with a greedy spirit, then you're going to attract debt to you, because greed indicates lack. Even with all that we have studied, we cannot go and say, well, we own everything and all the Moors have to, the Moors have to come and kiss our ring before they get anything. If we say that, we will be, the ancestors will fix that so quick. We must share the information freely. We have to. We don't have a choice. Share the information freely and assist one another so that we all move in lockstep with one another, unified, in a unified manner. Anyone who's operating outside of that, just know that, some people call it karma, some people call it judgment, other people call it correction. It will happen so quickly that it is dishonor. Absolutely. If we're operating in dishonor, the universe will honor dishonorable energy and give you what a dishonorable more gets. Now that's no reason to be. Go ahead, Judge.
Islam, I was just backing that up by saying, if we're acting in dishonor, the universe will honor that by giving us 10 or 12 or 20 times that back. So when we wonder why we have what we call problems, they're not problems. They see, okay, how much can you live? You're being dishonorable. You fix it, and things start going the other direction.
Absolutely.
That's how it works, not karma. It's what you do and what, because we are the universe in microcosm, and the universe is us in macrocosm. Islam.
So when you see dirty wars, and I see them sometimes, and to me it's just ignorance, because you know, if they knew who they really were, they wouldn't operate that way. They wouldn't, because they would know that there's no need to. No need to. And you know, we don't have to argue even with dirty Moors. We don't. Because even the occupiers know that when they see a dirty Moor, that they can do whatever, you know, they can throw them in jail, they can do whatever. Because the energies know one another.
Yes.
If we're dirty, we gotta pay for being dirty, okay? That's actually what's happening right now. If you look at those who've been dirty over there in that corporate status, and look at what's happening to them now. And we're not exempt from that just because we're the heirs. We must be honorable. Period. And energies tell the whole story. Those who have war energy and who feel like they have to argue back and forth with the subjects, that's not honorable. We don't have to argue with them. If they're not stating the supreme law of the land to support their stance and their status, then we don't even have to have a discussion, because we don't need to entertain that. It's not time productive to entertain those who don't know the law. When we didn't know the law, we paid for that, and some paid with their lives, because they did not know that they were not black and Negro and colored and African American. So, you know, we will be honorable, or else the price will be paid, you know. And so, you know, those people who are here on our land, they need to get an honor and get under their own vine and fig tree and declare their citizen status, and that they're going to honor the sovereign status of the Moors. And here's the thing. Even though, I'm going to go ahead and mute if I hear noise in the background. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Even though citizens who've been here for 2 generations, since the 1800s, when the corporation declared its corporate status, they need to know that it's not honorable to squat on our land when there are Moors who don't have domiciles. There are some Moors who are in homeless shelters, and they're the heirs to the land. So you can be here 2 and 3 generations. But when the Moors say, okay, we need domiciles, you need to be giving up the domicile. And giving them up is not a stickle up type of situation. It is, we're doing things by affidavit, placing things on the public record like competent Moors do. We're not showing up at the doorstep or anything like that. We're going to place the documents on the public record, and then we're going to let the ancestors lead us in terms of possession and how that happens. Okay, because this is going to be a peaceful transition. It's going to be peaceful. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what they do. I don't care who's objecting. I don't care who feels entitled because you're an heir. This will be peaceful, and the heirs must be peaceful as well. And we must do things competently. Possession of the estate is here, so we can rejoice about that. But in our rejoicing, we must be competent. We've been waiting for this time to come. The time is here now. Let's be honorable. Let's take our time and do what we need to do in terms of the paperwork, doing the proper documents, allodial title, and all of that. Allodial titles are in affidavit form, and we know that an unrebutted affidavit stands as law. And in order to properly rebut our affidavits, you must first have a flag that is of equal authority, and there is none. None. That's why we do